Sometimes it's the little things that make all the world of difference when it comes to making wash day more smooth, less annoying, more efficient. And so in this video, I'm going to share some little tiny tips that I have been doing or things that I've been focusing on. Hello everyone, Kayla here, and this is What the King, a natural hair channel. So the first few tips all have to do with detangling. I feel like we can never get enough of detangling tips because detangling is where a lot of naturals struggle. This is what causes some people to not be natural anymore. This is also what causes some people to spend a really long time with their wash day, saying that they spend many hours detangling their hair, or they double detangle, so on and so forth. So my first, two or three tips all have to do with this detangling beast. So the first thing I want to kind of get on is like more of a mental shift. And the mental shift translates into a physical difference of what you're doing. So you need to look at detangling your hair as more of a shed hair removal instead of detangling. Because when people hear detangling, they think that they are removing knots and tangles from something, unwinding something. When in reality, what you're really doing is I hate to use a term that's used for pets, but you are de-shedding. You are removing the shed hair, because that's usually what's catching and tangling is the shed hairs, and they've accumulated for however long it's been since you have last detangled your hair. Because shed hairs, we shed from like it's like 100 to 150. I've seen sometimes 100 to 200 hairs a day. And then, a typical natural, we're not washing our hair every day. So after you've gone however many days it is, that's how much shed hair is sitting in your hair, and it needs to be removed. So that focus will help you to kind of do things that are, I think, more efficient in that way. So when I am detangling my hair, I am like doing a lot of opening the hair and smoothing it and things like that, because I am attempting to remove the shed hair. And then by the time I pick the brush up, the brush goes through very smoothly because I've gotten all the shed hair out of the way. And now that we're here to the brush, this is something that one day I just had a light bulb and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. And it's to hold the section flat while you are detangling. I know sometimes you immediately want to like close your fist on the section and hold it like very tightly, and that may cause it to be more, not rounded, but kind of taper in towards the ends. And so then the hair is like going in this V shape, but you have this flat brush trying to brush across it. So I try to have my hair lay flat across my thumb, lay across my fingers, so that way when I'm brushing, the hair is like a smooth track for the brush to run through. Such a small thing, but my goodness, it just makes sense. Now, another thing with holding a section a certain way, I have started to focus on pulling my hair out before I dive in or slice in with my other hand to get a section out. It's kind of a similar thing. All the hair is going in the same direction, right? You're trying to cut across something that, if you don't do that, it's kind of laying down, and you're trying to cut across hair that's laying down. Now, of course, I mean, it's not like it's a total struggle to not do this, but I found that doing it is beneficial. So I have definitely been doing this when it comes to sectioning my hair. And typically I'm really getting into the sectioning, especially for the first time in a wash day when I'm detangling. I use these same kind of sections when I'm styling, but at that point, the hair's already been put in those sections. I've already run a brush through those sections, so it's smooth, and so it's really not as difficult. Not that it was difficult to begin with, but you guys know what I'm saying. Let's fast forward to the styling part. So this one is not really a new one, but I have had like a renewed level of focus on it. When I'm applying my product to my hair, I try to make sure I smooth the product over areas that tend to be forgotten. Typically when we do our hair, we are focusing on that section, the flat part of that section, what maybe the top or the bottom of that section. But what about the part that you made from the top to the bottom in your hair? So I make sure to smooth product in that. At the middle of my head, a lot of times the middle of other people's head doesn't have product. I'm still working on this, right? Smoothing the product over there, smoothing the product on the edges, smoothing the product on the nape of my neck, really making sure that the product is smooth all the way through, and just making sure that it's just a cohesive look, a cohesive application. I don't know, girl, but those areas tend to get missed, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't miss them. And this one is going to depend on your hair type and also the product that you are using. But in order to get the right amount of product, the perfect amount of product, apply enough product until the hair starts to want to separate on its own. Right there. That's the perfect place. If it's not doing that, you may not have enough product. However, on the other hand, being cautious with this, some products just are never going to do that. I know for my hair type, I know what best defines the curls. And I sometimes can be like, okay, I know that even if I put a bucket of this on my hair is never going to separate. Those products aren't for me. Okay, that's not for me because I'm trying to define my curls simply and easily, right? But a good rule of thumb for most products is to apply the product until the hair wants to separate or clump or whatever it is on its own. So these have been the few tips that I've been focusing on, those little teeny tiny things. If you have some, share them down below. I'm going to put over here 2 videos that are also sharing tips that I have just gotten a lot of value out of. Oh, by the way, join my channel membership. I do have one of those if you are interested, and I will talk to you in the next video.